Hi there, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. First of all, if you are a regular, sorry for not posting for a few weeks. I've been focused on launching my course, Crypto Like a Pro. If you'd like to find out more, you can find the link in the description. But hopefully from now on, I'll be able to start posting more regularly, at least once a week. And of course, as always, you can find my thoughts and more information, well, essentially my opinions about the market, either in my private Discord or on Twitter. Let's jump straight into it and have a look at Bitcoin's chart. So first of all, well, if we look at the last few weeks, in fact, last 3 months or so, there hasn't been really that much of a change, basically since mid-June, 12th of June or so. Bitcoin's been trending largely sideways from around $19,000, 18, 19, to about 24, most of the time though staying around 22 or below that. So we have this quite clearly range-bound movement. We can quite easily draw limits of this range. Essentially, it's something from this area at the bottom. And this would be our top. And to be honest, until we break out of those two ranges, whatever happens price-wise is largely irrelevant. Arguably, there was a little bit of an uptrend here from that mid-June all the way until, mid-August. Yeah, there was a bit of a move up. We had higher lows, higher highs, although barely higher highs. We talked about this in this channel, I think throughout July and August. And then a bit of a downtrend since then, basically. Lower highs and lower lows. Although again, barely lower lows over the last couple of weeks. But really, this isn't any clear trend. We are, if anything is clear here, is just a sideways chop. And until we can break out above, it would be $25,000, $25,400, or break below 17.5, well, it's safe to assume that basically we are just will continue trending sideways somewhere in this range. Only if we have that breakout either up or down, we can start talking about potentially some new trend. What's more interesting here, however, are those two lines. And these are the levels I often talk about, bear market and bull market support bands. So dark green line is Bitcoin's bear market support band, so that's 200-week SMA. Purple line is the bull market support band, 20-week SMA. But what's really interesting about it is that actually these two lines just crossed. So I think it was yesterday that Bitcoin's bull market support band went below Bitcoin's bear market support band, which makes no sense whatsoever. I appreciate it. And this is actually the first time it ever happened, which just shows how different this market cycle is to anything we had before. Before we could rely on those two levels as our bear and bull market support bands. Right now we're in a situation where, bull market is below bear. It just makes no sense. And also, it's important to acknowledge that Bitcoin never spent this much time below its bear market support band. I mean, yeah, of course it broke out of it here for a bit, but still the number of days or weeks below it is longer than anything we've seen before. Yes, we had crashes below that level on multiple occasions, I think in pretty much every bear market, but it was never for such a long period of time that Bitcoin actually stayed below that level. Does it change anything in terms of a longer time frames? Well, I don't think so. I don't think there will be much of an impact on a longer time frame. Essentially, what we'll probably continue seeing is a lot of sideways chop and potential further downtrend. I mean, the situation worldwide is still pretty rubbish. Inflation is going up in most countries. I don't think it's under control anywhere at the moment. Interest rates keep going up. It's fair to assume that the rest of this year is going to be pretty rough. I think now there is a consensus that next year is going to be pretty rough as well. I mean, we'll be either in recession, or most likely we already are in recession, but we certainly will be in recession, if not towards the end of this year, then certainly next year. And I think more and more people are accepting the fact that inflation will not get under control and we won't have sudden change of direction within the next couple of weeks or anything like that. A lot of people were quite optimistic throughout the summer that things will turn around quite quickly. I think it's now quite safe to assume that this is going to take a while. So I would prepare for pretty rough 2022, well, the rest of 2022, and probably most, if not all, of 2023. And then 2024, 2025, that's when things will hopefully change quite drastically. And if we look at pretty much any metric, everything points towards the same thing. I mean, overall macroeconomic situation is just rubbish. It doesn't really matter what levels we're looking at on a chart and so on. At this point, we have to look at the broader macro situation to assess essentially what's likely to happen and what's not. And at the moment, I don't think that the situation will improve much. I mean, crypto, whether it's Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, is very much a risk-on asset. And we are not in a situation where risk-on assets are a popular way to store money at the moment, not least because a lot of people just simply don't have money to put into assets. However, even though the situation looks quite gloomy, I mean, we can look at crypto fear and greed index, and of course that's in the extreme fear territory. And if we look at its chart, well, it's been in this range for a while now. Occasionally it breaks out to fear territory, but that's about it. If we look at volume on OpenSea, I mean, the last few months been absolutely dreadful. It looks like September is going to be more or less on par with July 2021. I mean, it's a massive drop-off, right? And I don't think much will change when it comes to NFTs. There are still occasionally projects which actually make some really, really good money, and there are still opportunities, of course. And same with crypto, you can still make money on some short-term pumps, but overall it is pretty rough. But what makes me optimistic is, well, Bitcoin halving countdown. Of course, that's coming down. The next halving is in 588 days at the point when I'm making this video. So that's expected to be some point in March 2024. And if you think about it, well, that's only about 18 months from now, year and a half. And so far, if we look at the history of Bitcoin, well, halving was always, if not the beginning of the next bull run. In fact, usually the beginning was a little bit earlier. The capitulation would take place a bit earlier. But certainly it was an indication that a bull run was already happening. Or more importantly, if we look at, let's say, price of Bitcoin and the last halving. So we had March 2020 here, and of course, beginning of the pandemic and a massive dump. And then halving was somewhere around here, I think May or June. And of course, not much happened for a couple of months. I mean, not much. There was still a bit of a run up here throughout the summer, bit of a correction. But then it only took about half a year for Bitcoin to get to, well, not only its previous all-time high, so $20,000 from 2017, but actually shortly after that, it more than doubled that previous all-time high. So if the next halving is going to occur in spring 2024, well, it's reasonably sensible to speculate that by the end of 2024, we can expect to see Bitcoin at possibly new all-time high. So it should be above $70,000. Potentially, it may be even above $100,000. So I think that's still overall quite optimistic. It's just the time frame, of course, is quite long. And I appreciate that a lot of people in crypto, well, they're hoping to make money on much shorter time frames. But at the same time, we should appreciate the opportunities in the current market, right? Because if we look at it, well, basically, so far we had 3 or 4 months of opportunities to accumulate Bitcoin on average for around $20,000. If you expect Bitcoin to go up to $100,000 or more in the next market cycle, which it's not an unreasonable assumption to make or speculation to make, well, that would be a easy, if there is such thing in crypto, gain of at least 5x. And if it goes higher than that, of course, that profit could be much, much bigger. Ethereum has been at a pretty good price point most of the time. Of course, it crashed massively, so we could get ETH for around $1,000. We had a bit of a pump coming up to the merge. Of course, standard, we had buy the rumor, sell the news event. Nothing really surprising there. I expect price of ETH to dump even further, especially if Bitcoin has another pullback, if the stocks pull back further. And to be honest, at the moment the stock market is not doing great. We can look at Nasdaq. I mean, I'll get rid of those two lines. It's quite a fair bit down from its all-time high. We can look at SPY, that's also down quite a bit. I mean, we're currently here at 364. So I wouldn't be surprised if soon crypto will follow. I don't think we've seen the bottom yet. I think that's still to come. And I'm not necessarily saying this as a bad thing. I think it will be a great opportunity to accumulate more. My strategy remains just either DCAing into crypto or just simply wait for whatever is the price point you want to wait for. Like I said, I think we will still see further dumps. So even though $19,000 for a Bitcoin is a really good price, I think we'll see lower price points. Of course, if that happens, altcoins will get absolutely destroyed. So there will be plenty of buying opportunities there. Although I wouldn't really get into that until there is a clear confirmed move to the upside. So in short, I think there will be plenty of opportunities. And overall, I think it's important to kind of look at the bright side. Yeah, situation worldwide sucks. Economic situation sucks. Crypto is absolutely destroyed, but it's a perfect time to just accumulate. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount. Just accumulate whatever you can. And also spend this time learning about crypto, spend this time researching new projects, look up the projects you maybe were interested in and see if they are still active, see what they're up to. Is there a potential for them in the next bull run or not? I think it's a perfect time to position yourself correctly for the next bull run. And that bull run will come eventually, right? So it's just a matter of time. And at the end of the day, if we scroll back, well, things were looking pretty gloomy during this period here as well, right? So that's the beginning of the pandemic here in March. That was the peak in 2017. I mean, once crypto crashed somewhere to those lows around this range, we've been going sideways for June until November. Then we had another massive dump. Then November until March the following year. Then correction back to the levels we were at before in May. So that took about a year. This period when prices were already really, really low, and that another massive dump. Bit of a rally. I mean, this rally right here, if you were buying somewhere here at those prices, not even the very bottom, but somewhere here around $3,500, $4,000. I mean, that rally was already 3 or 4x potentially. Another correction, I mean, this event shouldn't have really happened. You should really expect that this would be a slightly more smooth move up. But nonetheless, people who made a lot of money in the last crypto bull run, so in 2021, they were accumulating throughout this period. Unless, of course, you trade higher risk altcoins and so on. But if you're interested in Bitcoin or Ethereum, well, this whole period right here was just a perfect opportunity to accumulate. And once we got rid of that 2017 market cycle peak, as you can see, that's what period from January 2018 all the way up to October 2020. So that's almost 3 years where, well, the main objective was just accumulating. Yes, there were some pumps you could take advantage of, but generally, if you compare it to what then happens in the bull market, well, you can see that this wasn't really that exciting, right? And we are in a similar phase right now, or arguably we are at the beginning of a similar phase. This is still a downwards movement. I would like to think that where we are now is beginning of this sideways movement. I expect we'll still have another dump, maybe to 15,000, maybe even less. Hopefully relatively short-lived. If not, again, a great opportunity to DCA. But whatever will happen, I mean, personally, I think we'll see something like this, just sort of, it's a really rubbish line, but a lot of sideways movement, and then gradually move up in early 2024 and then going forward. There will be probably some dump somewhere on the way. So we'll revisit lower price levels, but more or less something like this, a lot of sideways chop. And then I would expect that early 2024, maybe even late 2023, is when prices will start gradually going back up. And then hopefully by late 2024, well, we should be somewhere in those upper ranges in 70,000 and above. So yeah, still a while to go, but I think the main message here is try to take advantage of those times. It sucks, but at the same time, there are also great opportunities here, whether that's learning about anything crypto or NFT related, whether that's investing in crypto if you have the funds, or it's just simply accumulating cash and waiting for the right moment to enter. That's also not a bad idea. And especially if you're interested in altcoins, well, I wouldn't really get into altcoins right now, but rather I would accumulate, wait, and then once Bitcoin starts clearly moving up, that's the time when you should go into alts if that's what you wish to do. So that's pretty much it for me for today. I think we'll see another 12 to 18 months of this sideways movement, and then hopefully some fun things should happen. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I'll be posting videos here at least once a week, so we'll just take it 1 week at a time, and we'll see when things will finally turn around. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.